I'm glad you all can make it. My name is Second Lieutenant Westlin Landuer, but you can all call me Wes, at least until you all stick up your right hands for the first of many times. I'm here today to talk to you about the journey that you're all about to undertake. First, though, I want to express some appreciation to my parents, Neil Landuer and Betsy Gorgeous, for all the support they showed in every stage of this journey. Next, the West Point Parents Association of Arizona for providing them with a support base of their own, as well as a multitude of opportunities to gather and enjoy good times with the folks going through similar trials. Lastly, thank you to all of you for your willingness to step forward and answer the call to serve our nation. You'll hear words like that often, so while I recommend getting used to them, it's also important that you internalize and understand what it means to hear them from those who stand behind you. Now, with the sentimentality out of the way, let's get started. For this speech, I'll be walking through the different phases you will go through as a cadet, stepping through each of the trainings and academic years I endured and which you will soon undertake. Starting from this moment up until I threw my hat in the air and joined the Long Gray Line. To start, here is where you are now. You've been accepted to one of the most prestigious institutions you could possibly hope to attend as a young adult. You're about to become a part of a history that dates back to our nation's founding. In many ways, you now stand head and shoulders above your peers. While that may sound somewhat braggadocious, I say it not with arrogance, but as a presentation of fact. You worked hard to get here, and were accepted over hundreds of others who had the same dreams and goals. Do not discredit their hard work or your own by failing to acknowledge the significance of this accomplishment, nor the hours your parents, friends, and mentors put in to help you. Take pride, but also be aware of the responsibility you are accepting. Those who helped and supported you, but more than anything, prepare yourselves. Next slide. Soon, you'll arrive at the academy and undergo Beast. This is where you'll be reduced to new cadet last name. You'll lose your hair, wake up early, go to PT, endure uniform drills and briefs, sit and work in the sun, and get yelled at by people who aren't all that much older than you. For some, this will be your first taste in what it means to be a cog in a machine, one face among thousands. Here, you were all big fish in small ponds, exceptional in one way or another. You stood out, whether it be physically, academically, as a leader, or probably some combination of all three. But so did everyone else there. Your responsibility is one that may be new to you, or perhaps more familiar than you realize. Being a follower and a teammate. Making a name for yourself will come in time. At this moment, you'll be surrounded by your new family, your first platoon. Make friends, learn from each other, hold one another accountable, and boost those around you up. It's only together that you will slay the beast and be ready to join the Corps as, please, the babies of the Corps. A step up from new cadets. You no longer need a battle buddy everywhere you go, and you can let those precious locks grow back out a little bit. But your role is still to be a follower, listening to your team leader, who listens to the squad leader, who answers to platoon and company leadership, all the way on up. Trust me, it may sound like a lot, but compared to Beast, that won't take up as much of your thoughts. Because now, there's a new daily task, academics. Here you'll meet more of your class and learn the paradox of West Point. Your allies are now your competitors. To use my class motto as an example, Together We Strive, you will work with them to complete projects, understand homework, and prepare for essays, tests, and quizzes, but you will also be ranked and held up against one another. I say this not to encourage hostility, but rather to remind you of the necessity of hard work. In fact, your grades will often rely on your ability to work with one another and be an asset to your partners. So don't be the one to drag down a group, whether it be in history or boxing. You will compete with one another, strive against each other, but more than anything, your opponents will be your friends and your teammates. Grow together and have fun. While you may have the least freedom of any member of the Corps, there's also the lowest level of responsibility. Find your ways to enjoy the lack of scrutiny, the lesser expectation, and relish in the bonds you develop as you begin to discover the leaders and people you want to be. Once you're through plebe year, you'll have cadet field training, or CFT. You'll have a chance to gain a more in-depth understanding of how tactics work and receive opportunities to partake and lead in situations revolving around the lives and equipment of the soldiers you will one day be responsible for. You'll also head off to a specialty school, possibly airborne, where you will get to jump out of planes and helicopters, or more than likely, you'll go to air assault, the 10 hardest days in the Army, or so they call it. You'll develop an understanding of how the big Army operates, probably with a certain degree of annoyance, but also an appreciation for the role the NCO is meant to play in preparing soldiers. Plus, it's always fun to get a little bit of chest therapy. Next, you'll become a yearling, or a yuck. A cadet corporal, you'll get your first taste of formal leadership when you have responsibility for a plebe. Some of you may be amazed at how quickly some of them seem to grasp things, how little they really need you, and you'll think, wow, was I like that? Others, you won't understand how they remember to tie their shoes in the morning, and you'll think, wow, was I like that? Either way, you've now got some authority, but you're sort of in that gray zone of having higher expectations, but less focus placed on you. This is normally when the cynicism sets in, so your job here is to stay as positive as you can. Join clubs, volunteer for events, and do hard things. Continue to shape the identity that you began to discover as a plebe, and absorb everything you can from those above you, because next comes leadership details. For me, it was a chance to go back to Beast and be one of the examples that the fresh-faced and eager future members of our tradition look up to when they first arrive. However, you may get to lead a more experienced crowd in CFT, or work with real soldiers in air assault, which we do host at West Point. You may also be able to see the administrative side of things and work as a member of the summer detachment, overseeing all the trainings that go on. Regardless, for many of you, this will be your first taste of leading a group in the Army. The lessons you've been picking up during your first 2 years, the models that you want to emulate or avoid, now is your time to experiment and develop. Take notes, sharpen your skills, and reflect. Because once the academic year starts, not only will you assume your first real jobs in the Corps, but you'll also have a decision to make. Cal year starts with affirmation. That's the bottom picture there. Here's where you'll decide if you're committed, if you'll stick up your hand again and agree to finish out your schooling and pay back your education with 5 more years of your life after graduation as an active duty member of the military. Once you do, it's back to the grind. You're a cadet NCO now, the backbone of the Corps. You'll be squad leaders, platoon sergeants, first sergeants, or members of staff. Trust me, you'll gain a better understanding of what those all entail than I can provide you here, but suffice to say, it won't be easy. Your job is taking the vision of West Point in your leadership and putting it into action. School won't be getting any easier either, but it's too late to turn back. Buckle down, heads up, and charge forward. Use your subordinates and peers to sharpen the areas where you're dull, strengthen the points where you're weak, and nurture the skills you've grown to prepare yourselves as the day of reckoning grows ever closer. Because this will be the last time you're an observer during that final day. Once you say goodbye to your friends, mentors, and former leaders in the class above you, it's your turn. Before that, though, you have a few more things to do. You got it. Well, it appears the slides did not want to translate over, so if you want to come take a look at what I did, I encourage you to come see me, and I'll get to show you some of the things I got to do when I underwent cadet troop leader training in Italy. It's up to you to, West Point will provide so many different opportunities for you, and it's up to you to seize them and make the most of them. During my cadet troop leader training, or as you can see up there, CTLT, which, by the way, parents, don't worry. You will never remember all these acronyms, and your cadets absolutely will get annoyed at you when you get them wrong, as mine can attest. I had an opportunity to visit Italy for 3 weeks and spend time with the 173rd Airborne Brigade. During this training, cadets have an opportunity to shadow a real Army platoon leader and gain a deeper understanding of the daily responsibilities and schedule of an active duty unit. However, this time is truly what you make of it. Most cadets will remain stateside, in forts and posts around the United States, but these are not the only trainings that we are afforded. While I never participated in one of these opportunities I'm about to describe, West Point offers academic, military, and physical individual advanced development programs, also known as IADS, MIADS, and HIADS, which will grant the chance to travel to locations as exciting as I received in going to Italy, or participate in events which many people, both in the country and around the world, will never even hear about. While I was able to use this opportunity to travel and visit beautiful and historic locations, you will be able to take advantage of such a myriad of experiences that would take weeks to dive into every detail. You will work for the Army as a cadet, but it can work for you too. Make sure you don't let any opportunities slip by, especially because you'll find yourself right back in the thick of it when you have to attend CLDT, or Cadet Leader Development Training. The culminating field event for cadets, you'll spend a little under a week refreshing and sharpening your tactical leadership before you spend 9 days in the field, lugging around equipment, moving between objectives, sleeping in patrol bases, attacking, defending, and just in general, learning the kind of person that you are when it's all on you. You'll be lucky to get 4 hours of uninterrupted sleep. Sometimes you'll barely have any time to eat, your feet will hurt, you're more likely to not be wet, and in general, it'll be an all-around miserable time. But it's here that you and your classmates will discover what you're made of, who crumbles and who rises. Fall back on your training experience. Play to your strengths and let others cover your weaknesses. If perhaps you don't like taking point, but you can carry a lot of weight, take up a machine gun. If you have trouble staying awake, but you know how to set up an op-board, a skill you all will soon develop, get off the line and help those who are planning. If you like to be involved but worry about being too trigger-happy, take a back seat and learn how to command from the rear. This is where you make mistakes, but you learn from them and come out of it stronger, smarter, and better than you went in. And as we approach the end, you become a firstie. Yes. Okay. You're now an officer in the Corps of Cadets. You give orders and lead from the front. By this point, you're meant to be an exemplar and model of the West Point system and training model. All of your hard work comes to bear not only in how you present yourself here, but also through the final milestones of the cadet career. Ring Weekend, where you'll accept the bold mold of rolled gold that signifies the road you took. Branch Night, where you discover the job you'll be doing the next 5 years of your life. Post Night, where you pick out the exotic location that you'll enjoy as you enter adulthood. This is really where the class rank matters, because the higher up you are, the more options you'll have available. So remember what I said about working hard and working with your classmates. Through it all, you'll have your peers, subordinates, mentors, and friends surrounding you. Take advantage of the time you have left with them, because as the days tick down and your class becomes so short you have less hours than the plebes have years, you'll reach the day you've been working towards for 47 months, which is graduation. The days will seem like forever, but the years fly by. You've reached the end, you put your hand up one last time as a cadet, and lower it as second lieutenant of the United States Army. So many different emotions will pour in, and for me personally, it still doesn't quite feel real. What was real is the bonds I forged and the people who stood beside and behind me. I was lucky in that I got to stay with the same group I met back in Beast, and they're more than just friends, they became family. I will forever treasure and be shaped by the time I spent with them. But this day won't be just about you. No. It's almost more so for your parents and supporters. A way for them to visualize and understand the fruits of everything they've helped you through. The time and energy they devoted towards you in your journey. If you're like me and don't enjoy pageantry, take the moment to understand that as a service member, it will never again be about you, but those you joined for. A selfish and self-centered individual will never be able to succeed in a way that matters as they go through this journey. The best part of West Point will always be the people, and that applies not only to those attending, but those who got them there too, and through it. It's a tradition I am proud and humbled to be a part of, and one which I am thrilled to see grow and continue with all of you. Be prepared to learn, support, grow, and lead, and you'll find that 47 months passes before you even know it. Good luck. Thank you to the parents for your support. Thank you all for your time. And to the future members of the group of the Corps, thank you for your service.